Richard and Pete here, back at you. One thing I noticed Trump said here the other day, in an old campaign video. He's like, if I was elected that last time, we'd have had all of Venezuela's oil. They're sitting on the biggest oil deposits in the world, and he says it would have been all ours. I find that a very interesting statement. It was one of his rallies. It's live TV. It's not faked. It's real. So, it's not the Venezuelans' oil. Well, no, it is, but Trump says it would have been ours, because why? Well, we would have took it. How are we going to take it? Just go down there and, they've been trying to overthrow Maduro, which is his existing president now, for quite a while. But here the other day, Trump's, that little campaign thing of his, slogan of his, that would have been all our oil. I guess he's going to go and fulfill that one. Starting another war with Venezuela. I guess he's going to send down a couple destroyers. And I think a submarine. And 4,000 Marines. What do you think that shit's all about? They're going to try a military coup. But it's our military going down and seizing control of the government for the oil. From that evil dictator, sovereign country. Yeah, I love the way news is used for the manipulation of the ignorant. So apparently we're going to go down there and start some shit, right? Well, remember the last time Trump was in office, he had done the same thing. He was threatening Maduro. He's like, Maduro's not the real president. This Guido is the real president, but Guido never ran, and he was never elected. And then so the news here says, oh, well, they manipulated the voting machines. Actually, I think they vote by ballot there, not machines. So us Americans understand voting machines. I think the whole world understands voting machines. So, but anyways, he was trying to assassinate Maduro then, sanctioning the country, threatening to invade. And what did he do? He went and, I think he had help of Russia and China, because he's part of, they kind of used some of that brick banking system, and they wanted to be the early, some of the early people in there. And so what he went and did is armed his entire nation, turned all the civilians into militia. Kind of like, militia, trained to be militia. They all got weapons. Excuse me. They all got a weapon, ammo, and were trained how to use it. Shoot it, I guess. Hell, for all I know, I bet, considering everyone now has a gun, I'm sure they have a lot lower crime there. And I would say engineered crime is different than just naturally occurring crime. Because engineered crime is always used to the benefit of those with an engineered outcome. But anyways, back on it. So Trump threatened this 4,000 Marines going down there. And apparently Maduro 0.5 million. That's 4.5 million people. Militia people. So on based on what he said to his country, which I know it's going to be shocking to some of you, considering you may be getting your news from the usual suspect news agencies. But for a tyrant and a dictator to have his entire country armed with rifles and ammo doesn't sound like a dictator to me. Matter of fact, a dictator doesn't like their people having weapons. I notice in our country a lot of times certain individuals are trying to get rid of our weapons. We know what our Constitution says why we have those. So back on it. So Maduro calls up 4.5 million militia members. I think they have a bigger population than that. So I'm assuming what he was activating was the coastal units of 4.5 million civilians and just saying, hey, be aware, you might have some Marines running up on the beach and maybe through your neighborhood heading our way. So if you see them, go ahead and have yourself field day. Happy hunting, right? I remember a few years back here, they took a census in Michigan, and just the registered hunters up there was in the millions. I think it was like 7. And I'm even trying to remember exactly that amount. I'm just trying to think about it. It was in the millions. And you're going to send in a few thousand of your troops by parachute into Michigan to invade our country, and you got like 7 million registered hunters. Yamamoto was smart. Hey, we can't invade America. Jesus, man, there'll be behind every rock, every bush, every bale of hay, every tree, every stump, every corner of a house, every ditch, every high place, every low place you would walk through this country, there would be armed civilians going to kill you because you did not come to that country to set them free, but to make them subjects to you, the conquering, invading army. And so the twist is here for us thinking that, who get in our news feed is that our 4,000 are going to walk right in, and the people are going to turn the country over to them. And they know if they do that, their social programs are going to go away, and all those billions of dollars that they make from their oil sales here in America and around the world, China, Russia, India, they're on the world market with their oil too, even under sanctions because they don't use U.S. dollars. So those people know that that those billions are going to go off into the rich men's pockets, because that's what was happening before. So, in my opinion, this is going to be an eye-opener and one of the biggest theatrical things they'll ever have to cover up as this thing is going shit south. The spin that's going to have to come out of this to play this theatrical disaster coming up, it's going to have to be live free or die type shit, huh? But there's going to be a lot of slogans repeated on all the media and all the magazines, word for word, exact. Mark my words, everyone's kind of gung-ho, but some people I know are like me, like, oh, here we go. Why do we want to go and get in Venezuela when we didn't even get anything over there in the Middle East? Why? Because this is in our backyard, and that's the Gulf of America, man. It's our oil down there. No, it's a Venezuelan's oil. And I have the feeling that you're going to have an entire nation of people shooting at anything that's coming there to take away their social stuff, which comes from the profits from their industries that they sell their stuff around the world. Give you a little news info here, just a little quickie blurpy blurp that I knew even before Trump about Venezuela, that those industries, those big corporate giants that went in there, there were food manufacturing companies in there, and through the incorrect installed Spaniard leaders, these corporations shut all those factories down, and all the people couldn't go to work. And why did they shut them down? Well, they didn't need them open. They didn't go in there to have them open. They get the food everywhere. What they wouldn't do is import food there. That's what they did. But after the Chavista movement, they they went ahead and opened up them factories and started reproducing everything because all the equipment was left in there. So everything that these big corporations had shut down in the beginning with, and even started some stuff and shut it down, they left all the equipment there, and the Venezuelans went ahead and opened up shop, and they do all their own thing. So I really don't think this is going to work out any good for this administration. In my opinion, I understand the geopolitical positioning of capturing the Gulf of America because of the upcoming major world conflict. This is going to be where we get our oil from to fight the war, if we keep the oil going. Texas, of course, World War II, but sits on the biggest supply of oil in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia. So if America captures that oil, the Koch brothers had built refineries on the on the Gulf of America coast, specifically engineered to take that heavy crude and turn it into fuels and other petroleum products. And what this is all about is America capturing that and then flooding the market with cheap oil to drive the oil prices down on the world market to attempt to cripple Russia and underbid Russia in oil. So Russia supposedly needs to make so much per barrel, and Saudi Arabia needs to make so much per barrel. And so does America. If we're fracking it, we have to have larger costs per barrel. So that's what this is. And I'm telling you what, man, there's never been a war that America ever went with and we physically won and conquered other than leaving the place in a disaster, because it's not about the people, it's about the resources and world domination and control of nations and nation states.